So we're going to take a look at a couple of budget cases that are from Gamdias, no idea how you pronounce it. Over here we have the Apollo E2 Elite, and it has, well, we'll get to that in a minute. And over here we have the Talos E2 Elite. And from the looks of it, they are the exact same case because they are the exact same case. And the only thing that differs between these two cases is that there's dual 200mm fans in the Apollo, and then in the Talos there are 3 120mm fans. That's it. That's the only thing that distinguishes the two cases apart. Other than that, the dimensions are the exact same at 15.4 inches in length, 9 inches wide, and 18.3 inches tall. So they're fairly compact cases, and they're not overly heavy. They're fairly light, and this is a complete system. The only thing missing is a GPU, so it's still pretty light. It comes with one USB, that's 3.0, and two 2.0 USB ports. It comes with a headphone jack and an audio jack. We have a button that you can change LED colors, a reset button, and a power button. So let's take a quick look inside. One of the things I like that's nice is that it's a tempered glass on the front, tempered glass on the side, and it's a nice little door. You don't have to fiddle around with any screws. You just open it and you can slide it right off. And again, both cases are identical, so we're just going to focus on the one. It's so identical that it even has the 200mm fan cutout in the Talos. From the looks of it, even though there is a glass panel, there is enough room in there for the air to flow in, for those fans to pull in, to pull the air through. This would be a mid to entry-level system. You would not be using this on a high-end system. You can't even fit a high-end card in here. It only has enough room for a 340mm fan. So I think 7900 XTX, 4080, 4090 will not fit in this case. It can comfortably fit like a 6750 XT, 4070 Ti, 7900 XT, I believe. So it can fit some of those cases, or some of those GPUs in the case. It has ample room to move around in. Once you start putting fans up at the top, there is room to put 2 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans at the top. Once you start putting those in there, it does get a little cramped. It does come with a rear 120mm fan for the exhaust. You have a slit in here where you can actually put a 360mm AIO. Got lots of cutouts to put your cables through. On the back, we got 7. It fits a full ATX case, so you have 7 slots in the back. You also have 3 vertical ones in case you want to, vertically mount your GPU. Another nice touch from this is that it comes with thumb screws, so you don't have to fiddle around with getting a screwdriver out if you ever want to take the back panel off. It seems pretty sturdy. Not too, compared to even some of my more expensive ones, it seems just as sturdy as them pushing on the sheet metal. So it is fairly sturdy case. You can also, so the CPU cooler only has, has 190mm clearance. So you do get a good amount of clearance for putting a third-party air cooler in. Don't judge my rat's nest. It's not too bad because, well, there's not a whole lot going on in here. So you can put 2 3.5-inch drives here and one 2.5-inch drive in here. If you do put the extra drive in there, it does kind of clutter things up on the top, but there is ample space if you do not do the second drive to shove your cables in there. You have about a 1/2-inch clearance in between the motherboard and where the panel is going to close. So depending on the GPU and how much cabling you're going to have in here, you should have ample room to run your cables and do some cable management. Aside from that, the back is fairly plain. You have the opening, so you don't have to worry about getting your back plate on for any type of cooler that you need to mount if this comes off, or if you have extra hardware. And the reason why I say these are budget is because in Canada, there's a $25 rebate. So $75 less $25 rebate. They ran me about $50 a piece plus shipping and tax. So I think they still came to almost $75 after all that was said and done. But for a case that comes with RGB fans in the front and a rear fan in the back, that's saving you a good amount of money. Even the cheapest Thermalright RGB fans are going to run you Canadian. I'm not sure what it is in the US. About $15. So if you put 3 of them here, that's $15. Put in an extra fan in the back, that's another $5. We're talking about $20 or so in fans. So the next nearest case with any sort of fans was considerably more expensive. So $50 with all that included is, in my opinion, a pretty good deal for a budget system. It's compact. You are going to get, well, you have nice tempered glass, not the acrylic crap. So it does look nice, feels nice, holds finger smudges very well. There is a little bit of concern with the gap in between the fans and the front glass panel restricting airflow, but for a budget system where you're not going to be running a 12900K or, you know, a 4090 in it, it works very well at moving the heat through, even without any of the top fans. When I was playing this, we're talking like 70-degree temperature on the CPU during gaming, and I never saw it go over that when I was using a GTX 9070, which is, it's not a powerful GPU, but it runs fairly hot for what it is. It's like 150 watts. So it was able to dissipate the heat completely fine. Even with the crappy stock coolers, it was still able to keep the CPU cool enough. So again, not a high-end system PC, but it is very affordable, especially in today's day and age where you're trying to put a system together. You want to be able to save as much money on the less important components, which are the case as long as it's sturdy and doesn't restrict airflow, and then you can allocate those funds to the more important things, like a better GPU or more RAM or more storage or anything else. So there are a lot of positives with this case, anyways, in my opinion. Other people might differ from my opinion. The only thing that I dislike is the front I/O, specifically the USB ports. They are fairly tight. I'll find one here in a second, but this is just a little USB connector for my keyboard and mouse combo. It's fairly small, has a little plastic piece in it. It was fairly snug going in, and then when I pulled it out, the plastic cap came off, and I had to go get a pair of needle nose pliers, and even that was fairly difficult yanking it out. So let's see here. Hopefully it doesn't ruin this, but it doesn't go in very smooth. It takes a little bit of force to get it in there, and a little bit of force to get it out. So any delicate USBs, something that might be housing pictures or something that's valuable to you, you do not want to put in the front I/O. This is probably good for something that you're going to plug in and leave there permanently. Whereas like in the back, yeah, there's a huge difference between plugging a USB in the motherboard going in nice and smoothly, and then using the front I/O here. And yeah, it takes a fair amount of effort to get it back out. And when it comes to, you know, USB, it's a fairly delicate component. You don't want that. So yeah, again, do not recommend using the front I/O for anything that is sensitive in nature. Use it for plugging in an actual USB cable that if it gets ruined, they're a dime a dozen. They're cheap to replace. You can yank it out and just put a new one in. If it gets ruined, $5-10, you get yourself a new one. Nothing is damaged. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you found this video helpful, please think about joining the channel and liking the video. Thank you and have a good one.